Why are we going negative? Because we're trying to cause a pattern interrupt. All they're used to is people trying to get them to say yes all the time. So I want them to say no. It's just a slight change. We change the dynamic of the conversation. So how do we separate ourselves in the very beginning of the phone call?
Letting them know we're working for them, not for the insurance company.
Okay, that's easy to say.
Right.
Now we need to give them context. And what that means, Mrs. Jones, I'm an insurance broker. What company do you work with, or what company provides insurance? Humana. Great. So I work with Humana and all the other major insurance companies nationwide. So what that means for you is it doesn't matter what company you have. My only goal is to help you get the additional money for X benefit you said would be helpful. Once you decide what you want, I then take off my broker hat and I put on my insurance hat and I just help you with the paperwork. So you can get all the benefits you're entitled to. Does that make sense? But you wouldn't be against having lower costs and more benefits, would you? No. So that's all we're gonna try to do is lower your costs and get you more benefits. Would you be okay if I helped you do that? Now whose idea is it?
The client.
The client's idea. Does that make sense? We ask permission to help them. You have to ask permission to help the client. Follow? So, everyone's been doing this correct. We're just adding the next layer, which is now we're just going to kill the monster off the baby and address the issue. So we've kind of just pretended like most of it's bullshit, because a lot of it is, but now we're running into the people where it's not, and now we need to address it in a different way. Does that make sense? So we're still gonna go to this first. Does that make sense?
Yep.
How do you know if it's a real objection or a real concern? They'll bring it up more than once. So if they bring up in the first 3 minutes or 5 minutes, I'm not changing, I'm not changing, I'm not changing, I'm not changing, we can't just pretend they haven't said I'm not changing 5 times. We just need to address that right away. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the easiest way is just head on. I'm just a little curious, why do you keep saying you aren't changing? And then they're gonna tell you what?
Their fears.
Well, everyone calls and all they try to do is get me to change my plan. Oh my goodness, what do you mean by change your plan? They try to take away your benefits? And then they'll probably say something. Have you ever had a bad experience? These are questions you can ask. Okay, ready? Have you ever had a bad experience when it comes to your Medicare insurance? Have you ever been told you're going to get benefits and then not had, or have you ever been told you're going to get certain benefits and then never received those benefits? Have you ever been told you're going to have lower costs and the costs didn't go down, they actually went up? So just think about this in specific areas. We have costs and benefits and coverage. So you just ask those questions in those quadrants. So have you ever been told you're gonna get more benefits, but they went down? Have you ever been told your costs were gonna be lowered, but they went up? Have you ever been told you're gonna have better coverage, but ended up getting worse coverage? That's what I find. Most people that are adamant are not changing, they've really just had a bad experience, and they were working with an insurance agent, not an insurance professional. There's a big difference. Follow? And I'll just give you an example, Mrs. Jones. It takes about as much time, or it takes 10 times more time for somebody to cut your hair that works at Great Clips for $9.99, depending on what part of the country you are, than somebody to get an insurance license. So not all insurance people are created equal. Now, a big difference is I don't do 10 to 20 policies a year. I do 10 to 20 policies a week. So most insurance agents get the same experience in 1 year as I do in 1 week. You can see how I may be a little bit better at my job than most. How'd you just separate yourself? Volume.
I have a question though, because like earlier, a while back, you had said like you don't want to pretty much like shit on people because then that's going to create like that distrust with agents. So like, how do you separate yourself, but also like not create like distrust with agents as a whole?
So when you attack a specific person, that's what will create distrust. And then you're saying they make bad decisions. Does that make sense? All I'm talking about is how I'm different. And I'm explaining facts and statistics. Those aren't opinions.
How would you brush that off? Because that happens to me, where they say, I have an insurance agent, he never mentioned that to me about the Part B, which is really common.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys seen it a lot, but I have. And,
so then what do we normally do? We then tell them stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's not something
versus, oh, how come? Make them answer their stupid question.
Yeah.
We don't always have to have the answers. Sometimes make the clients come up with the answers. They're the one asking the question. That have made a big difference over the last couple of years.
Yeah, true though.
So I understand you're loyal to your agent, but at the end of the day, you also want to work with somebody that's loyal to you. And by being loyal to you, I mean they're always offering you the best benefits and lowest costs, or a plan that's gonna fit your needs best. So I respect being loyal, I recommend it actually. But over loyalty, what I recommend is my clients being taken care of the best possible way they can. And if that's not me, then I recommend they go somewhere else. I'm assuming your agent would do the same, wouldn't they? What are they gonna say, no?
Never.
Wow, really? So is that somebody you wanna work with?
No.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't wanna say I use what they say against them, I just use it for them.
Yeah.
Follow?
Yeah.
So I just go, I don't know, that's a good question. Why haven't they?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, well, if you knew you were qualified for this X benefit for the last 3 years or last 12 months or last however long, would it bother you that they didn't at least let you know you had that option?
Yeah, they should
Well, I'm
have
gonna call
told
them
me.
and find out. Well, you can, I can just tell you this plan's been available since 2020. So maybe it just didn't fit your needs at the time, or maybe they just may have made a mistake or missed it. But since we're on the phone right now, I'd love to earn your business, if you'd be open to the idea. So, back to questions. So, anytime we're getting pushback about company, I'm not changing, what should we do?
Ask questions.
Okay, so what would be some questions?
What do you love so much about?
What is it that you love? Yeah. What is it that you love so much about ABC
Okay.
Company?
Cool. So, amazing. That's one. Now I'm gonna give you guys some things that hopefully might make it easier to think of questions, okay? And I just use time. Time is the easiest way for me to think about this. We have past, the now or present, and then we have the future. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we can find out why did they change from their past plan to their current plan. Does that make sense? Now, opposite, when they say they don't want to change, I want to stay where I'm at, then we want to find out what happened in the past to cause you to be hesitant on looking at all your options today. You can go both ways. So we can find out, I'm a little curious, have you always been on X plan?
Yeah.
If they say yes, well then I've just eliminated the past. I can't then go back and go, why'd you change? But what can I do? I can go, well, why'd you originally pick that plan? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can go to past behaviors. Past behaviors and past actions are going to be a good dictator on what we do moving forward into the future. If we don't change our behavior, we're going to continue to do what? The same thing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So, we have where they're at now and they want to stay. So we can go, perfect.